Hello, welcome to Ignite Your Soul Purpose. Today, I have a pleasure with having an amazing guest, Brad Yates with Tapper Brad. So, hello, Brad.
Hey, Leora, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you for being us with you today. So, Brad is an amazing speaker. I've had the pleasure to follow him on his YouTube channel for years. Brad is known internationally for his creative work and often humorous use of emotional freedom technique called EFT, for those who know about EFT tapping. Brad is also the author of the best-selling children's book called The Wizard's Wish, and also the co-author of the bestseller Freedom at Your Fingertips, and a featured expert in the film The Tapping Solution. Brad is also a presenter at numerous events, so thank you for being on this one, and also has been working on different projects, such as on some teleseminars with authors from the Secret, such as Dr. Joe Vitale. And Brad has over 1,000 videos on YouTube, which is so amazing and also so generous, which is what I love about you, Brad, is how generous you are with your time and all the different healing that you're providing through your YouTube channel, with over, I think, 250,000 subscribers now. So definitely a lot of people are following you. And 41 million views. So well done. Well done, you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Brad, if you could tell the audience a little bit more about yourself from your perspective, and also how did you get started with EFT tapping?
Yeah. So how does a grown man find himself tapping on his face for a living? Well, I always knew that's what I was going to do. No, I started out as an actor, and I had traveled the world doing theater and went to Hollywood to be a movie star, as one does. And while I was there, I met a woman, fell in love, and got married. Okay. And when our first child was on the way, I thought, I might need a backup career. Even though I'm not a doctor, but I played one on TV, but it didn't pay enough to support a family. So I was looking at what else can I do? And I'd always been fascinated by the power of the mind, and saw an advertisement for hypnotherapy school. And I thought, that would be cool. Hypnosis is cool. So I trained to become a hypnotherapist and started building a small practice while also continuing my acting career. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of years later, when our second child was on the way, I realized that as much as I loved acting, this personal development work was really my calling. It's like, this is really what I'm meant to be doing. This is more fulfilling for me personally. So we left Los Angeles, moved to Northern California, and through some other hypnotherapists, I heard about this energy psychology and tapping, and thought, well, I'll give this a try, and was fascinated by it. And so I started introducing it little by little into my hypnotherapy sessions, until little by little they became tapping sessions. And still do a little bit of hypnosis at the end of my sessions often. Mm-hmm. But I just really love this process of EFT tapping. It's just a simple, quick tool for down-regulating stress. And there's just so many areas of life where that stress holds us back, stops us from being who we can be, stops us from sharing our beauty, as we were talking about. And we may be doing some tapping about that in a little bit. Yep. But we have all of these thoughts and ideas that make us fearful and stressed out, and we really hold ourselves back. And this is such a simple way of down regulating that stress response, so that we feel this emotional freedom to make different choices and live a better life.
Beautiful. And I'm thinking, for some of the audience may have never heard about EFT tapping, can you kind of explain the science behind it and where it all started?
Yeah. So EFT, as we know it now, started around 1980 or so. A psychologist named Dr. Roger Callahan was working with a woman with a water phobia, and was using traditional psychotherapy with her and not getting the results he wanted. And he was also at that time sort of expanding his horizons and learning about acupuncture, acupressure, kinesiology. And in one of their sessions, she mentioned that the discomfort that she felt around water came up as a knot in her stomach. And he thought, oh, wait a minute. I know that this endpoint for the stomach meridian is right here under the eye. So let's just see what happens if we can do something about at least the physical discomfort. And tapped under her eye for a moment, and the fear of water went away. Not only did the knot in her stomach go away, but she was able to go out to the swimming pool, which used to be impossible for her, and splash water in her face. And she said, I don't feel any discomfort. And he thought, wow, that's interesting, as one would.
Yes.
And so he started experimenting with other clients and found that he needed to change up the tapping and do things differently and tap on different points for different clients. But within a year, he put himself out of business because all of his clients who had been coming to him on a regular basis no longer felt a need for his services. So he started teaching what he was calling the Callahan technique, or thought field therapy, TFT. And then he started teaching it. One of his first students was a gentleman named Gary Craig. And Gary had his training in engineering, and thinking like an engineer, he was looking at Roger's methodology, which was a little complex, and simplified it to just using the same tapping points in each round, and called this version emotional freedom techniques, or EFT.
Okay.
A lot of us just call it tapping now, but it's based originally on this idea of acupuncture that for thousands of years they've used in Chinese medicine for clearing up disturbances in your energy system. We have a growing body of scientific evidence showing that it works in a number of different ways. It calms down the amygdala, which is the part of our brain that looks for threatening situations and puts us into fight or flight. So it calms down that. It interacts with the polyvagal system, the vagus nerve that runs up and down the body and regulates emotions. So there is a growing number of scientific studies, gold standard double-blind studies showing the efficacy of tapping.
And for one, because it stems from, like you said, from acupuncture. So if someone is already doing acupuncture, is that something that they can use concurrently at the same time? I mean, are the benefits, is it redundant, or someone was, to wonder?
Well, they might be using it differently than their acupuncturist might. So they might, it's simpler because you don't have to use needles.
Yep.
Easy to do at home.
Not always fun. I've done acupuncture regularly, and sometimes it can be a little painful. Yeah.
So much easier to do this on your own at home. And you can use it for physical issues, but you can also use it for a lot of different emotional issues that the acupuncturist might not be using it on. And it's just easy to use pretty much any time, that you're feeling some stress or something like that, and just being able to start clearing that away.
Love it. And I love how we talked about pain, being no pain, because I was doing some research as well, from looking at the medical point of view around EFT tapping, and was looking on the WebMD, because I know a lot of people, especially in the US, look at WebMD, and they have several studies that have been done around tapping. And one of them was, several of them basically came back and mentioned that, with a survey of 20 studies, I find that EFT techniques reduce symptoms of depression, and also that it was really effective with PTSD. And do you want to expand a little bit on that, and especially with the experience that you have had with some of your clients?
Yeah. So with all of these issues, most, if not all of the issues that trouble us physically and emotionally are either caused by or worsened by stress. So if we think of EFT as nothing more than a stress relief technique, that's why it's so effective with so many things. So the disturbance we feel with depression, the disturbance we feel with trauma, with PTSD, is there's a stressful experience in our body. And so the tapping helps to reduce that. And as we do that, we are then able to explore the thoughts that are behind the depression or the anxiety or the trauma in a way that we might not have been able to before, because sometimes it just feels so intense. It's like, I can't even talk about that. I can't even think about that. And as we calm ourselves down, we're able to explore that. That's why Dr. Bessel van der Kolk, who's one of the premier trauma experts, uses EFT along with EMDR in his sessions, because it's so important for us to be able to talk about the underlying issues. And this allows people to feel safe enough to do it.
Fantastic. And another thing that Vanessa mentioned as well on the WebMD was it's painless, it's inexpensive, easy to do, and less time consuming than other types of therapy. So here we go.
There you go.
So many benefits, which is beautiful.
It's been studied alongside things like cognitive behavioral therapy, and has gotten similar, if not sometimes better results, and in less time. So I don't think of it as an alternative therapy. I think of EFT as a complementary therapy. So like you said, using it alongside acupuncture, using it alongside CBT, or, you know, whatever you're doing with your medical doctor or your therapist. It's not a matter of, oh, well, throw all that stuff away, and use it in conjunction with those things that are beneficial for you. Which
with everything, especially all the tools we have nowadays, I always say it's not either or, it's and, right?
Absolutely.
And how can we use both? They're all complementary. So now in terms of, you know, as we're looking into our soul purpose journey, how can we use EFT tapping into our soul purpose journey?
Yeah. I like to say that the extent to which we're not experiencing what we say we want tends to be the extent to which we're resisting it. And we only resist things because we have a fear response, we have a stress response. So it's, you know, they say our conscious mind is like 5 to 10%, and the other 90 to 95% is the unconscious. So our conscious mind says, I love the idea of soul purpose. Yes, it feels so good. I'm so excited about my soul purpose. So that's 5 to 10% saying that, and the other 95% is going, yeah, you go ahead and think that. But, you know, soul purpose is crazy. It's not you know, people are going to think you're weird. You don't have what it takes. And there's all of this other stuff. So it's like, you go ahead and fantasize about it. It's like vision boards.
Yeah.
Oh, you put the pictures up there. You get excited about the dream vacation, but it's not safe for you to have that. So we're going to make sure it never comes true. But by all means, fantasize about it. So in terms of our soul purpose, there is a part of us that we love the sound of it, but there's a part of us that also goes, oh, that sounds too heavy. Depending on our programming, it may sound a little woo-woo. There's all kinds of resistance. Even if we're a very spiritual person, we may have picked up a lot of things and have felt like, oh, if I talk about my soul purpose, people are going to think I'm nuts, or whatever it is. So I have to keep it secret. So I close down my connection to my soul purpose because of this fear of what other people will think. So it generally, our resistance to these things generally comes down to this fear. So I always like to have people think about what they want to create, and then imagine what that's like, and then notice where in your body you might feel that fear. In fact, let's go ahead and do that right now. So I'm going to invite everyone to close their eyes. Take a deep breath in and hold it. And let it go. Now just breathing comfortably with your eyes closed. Just allowing yourself to be present. Allowing yourself to be right here, right now. As present as possible so as to receive maximum benefit from this time together. And just following your breath through your body, just allowing yourself to be aware of what you're feeling physically and what you're feeling emotionally. And say, I choose to live my soul's purpose. Just let that rattle around inside. And notice what that feels like. Notice those parts of you that say, yes, that's exactly what I'm here for. And notice those parts of you that might be a little less enthusiastic. Those parts that might imagine the reaction of friends and family or strangers. Those parts of you that might say, no, I think it's fine to have a soul purpose, but I don't know what mine is. Maybe I'm afraid I don't even have one. So just allow yourself to be aware of where there might be discomfort, where there might be resistance, where there might be fear. There might be doubt. Still feeling what goes on inside, say, I choose to share my beauty with the world. And let that rattle around inside. And again, noticing those parts of you that say, that's what I'm here for. And notice those parts of you that might say, what beauty are you talking about? Do you really think anybody wants that? And just allow yourself to be curious rather than judgmental. Because those parts of you that might have those critical voices are just trying to protect you based on old programming, based on old beliefs about why it might not be safe or okay to say, yes, I have beauty to share with the world, and that is my soul's purpose, and that's why I'm here. Allow yourself to be aware of all that stuff. Take a deep breath. Open your eyes. So that's how I like to take people through things like that, so they get in touch with it. Because most of the time we're taught, oh, only focus on the positive, focus on the positive. Think about your soul purpose. Like, great, I'm going to. And we're not aware of all other stuff that we're carrying with us. So it's like we've got a trunk full of old doubt and beliefs that is tied to our waist. We're just trying to run down the track. I'm Usain Bolt. I'm not really getting anywhere, but but I'm going for it, because we're not paying attention to all that stuff that's keeping us held back. So let's become aware of that, and then let's clear it, because it's misunderstandings.
Exactly.
Anything that says that you don't have a soul purpose, anything that tells you you don't have beauty to share, look you straight in the eye, is a lie. Or at least a misunderstanding. Possibly yours, possibly somebody else's, and they may have told it to you because they didn't know any better. So that's where we want to clear stuff away. Should we do some tapping?
Love it. Yes, definitely. And I just wanted to give a little bit of feedback on the exercise we just did, because for me, I felt right away this tightness between my throat and my heart. And when we moved to the beauty, then that tightness weirdly went into the brain. So it's interesting to also observe, we may not be aware of where it's stuck in our body, but yeah, it was great. So, and I love
thank you for sharing that, because this is what you do, putting yourself out there, and for you to acknowledge, yeah, and I even have some tightness around this.
Yeah.
So that gives space for everyone else to say, oh, okay, if Leora is having some tightness around that, then it makes sense that I may not be fully there and open. Excuse me. So on a scale of 0 to 10, how much tightness would you say there is?
Surprisingly, because I do a lot of work, surprisingly, it was about a 7 right here, which I was surprised about.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, because this is also what I love about tapping the videos I've done with you, is you peel layers, right? You peel a layer,
Absolutely.
You think it's gone, and then it's another layer of doubts and limited beliefs and society and all those layers that we put on ourselves. So it's constant work, but it's nice to see them keep peeling. But yeah.
And it's like, imagine if you have your car has 4 flat tires, and you fix 2 of the tires, and you're thinking, the car's still dragging. Yeah, but I've already done a lot of work fixing those 2 tires. I'm just going to leave it as it is. It's like, no, wow, if I can do what I'm doing on 2 tires, imagine what I can do if I keep acknowledging the other 2 flat tires and keep working on those. And when I get those pumped up, and then maybe there'll be something else, maybe the fan belt needs to be replaced or whatever.
Exactly.
But acknowledging, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this, and I'm going to keep sharing my gifts from wherever I'm at. I don't have to wait until a mechanic can find nothing wrong with the vehicle. I already have something to share, and obviously here you are acknowledging that there's some tightness, but you're already sharing your beauty. You're already making a difference, and so it's like, wow, cool. Now what else is possible?
Exactly. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. This is great. And so we want to do a little bit of get the audience to taste a little bit of your tapping, the fun tapping with Brad. I love it, because you always bring so much humor in your tapping, and And
Well,
I've
I
seen in
try
your,
to. Don't put the pressure on me because this one might not be funny. I don't know.
maybe not, but
We never know.
I was looking
Um,
yesterday at your channel and you had one was just about loving your neighbor, so which I thought was so funny.
um,
It's amazing.
so for anyone who's never done EFT before, I'm going to give a quick tutorial. So what we generally do is we look at whatever issue is we're faced with. So let's say we're feeling a lot of stress, or feeling a lot of anger. Let's say our neighbor Bob has done something really stupid, and it's like, oh, I'm so angry at Bob. So we'd rate that on a scale of 0 to 10, and look at where we feel that. So it might be, oh, I feel this tightness in my shoulders or a knot in my stomach, whatever that is, and it's about an 8 out of 10. So then we would, taking the fingertips of our index and middle finger, we gently tap on the side of the opposite hand and say, even though I feel this anger at Bob, I choose to love and accept myself. Or this stress, or whatever the issue is that you happen to be in. So you'd say that 3 times, and just creating an opening there saying, I love and appreciate myself, even though I have this issue. Because what we resist persists. And so often we try to fight that and say, oh, I don't feel that. And then it's just stuck in that trunk, slowing us down. So we do that 3 times, and then we're going to go through these different tapping points. So we start here at the beginning of your eyebrow. We gently tap, and generally we tap between 5 and 10 times. If a phrase is longer, we might tap 20 times. It's okay. It's not like it has to be between 5 and 10 times or it doesn't work. So we'll say, all this stress or all this anger at Bob, whatever the phrase is. We'd repeat it again here at the corner of the eye, right under the eye, right under the nose, right under your lower lip, just above your chin. Right here where your collarbones just about come together, there's a little U shape at the base of your throat, and you can use all of your fingertips or even make a fist and tap over that area. Next point is about 4 inches below your armpit. It's right about bra strap level, and I'm sure even the guys can figure out where that is. And then finally, we're going to tap the top of the head. So with all of your fingertips, just tapping around the crown of your head. So we would repeat the basic phrase of this stress, this anger at Bob, whatever it is, on each of those points. Then we take a deep breath. We check again and say, okay, if it was an 8 before, what does it feel like now? It may go from an 8 to a 0 like that. It may go from an 8 to a 7.75. And still, that's a little bit of relief. Any relief we can get is worth something. And so we may repeat it then after that. So that's the basic version of EFT. And you can also tap without saying anything. If you're feeling stress, don't worry about the words because your body already knows. The words are to help us tune in to what's bothering us. But if your body's already feeling it, the tapping itself will help you lower that. So I like to show that basic version before we go in and have some fun with it. Because otherwise, if I'm saying all kinds of different things, folks will go, wow, tapping's really complicated. You have to come up with this whole script. It's like, no, you don't. You can tap silently, or you can just say the same thing over and over. This stress, this tightness in my shoulders, this tightness in my shoulders, and you'll find that beneficial.
Okay, fantastic. Looking
All
forward
right.
to getting started. Let's do it.
Now let's have some fun. So really quickly, once again, close your eyes, take a deep breath. And let's go back to that, whatever doubt you might have felt about your soul purpose and sharing your beauty. Allow yourself to be aware of any tightness that you might have felt, any fear, any questions about whether or not you actually have something to share. Just allow yourself to be aware on a scale of 0 to 10, how much fear, doubt, discomfort, resistance, however you choose to picture that, whether it's a feeling, a physical feeling, or an emotional feeling, or a thought. Just allow yourself to be aware of what's there. Rate that on a scale of 0 to 10. Take a deep breath, open your eyes, and please tap where I tap, and then repeat back what I say. Even though I have some doubts, I choose to love and accept myself. Even though I have some doubts about my soul purpose, I choose to love and honor myself. Even though I have some doubts about sharing my beauty, I might even doubt whether I have any to share. Even though I have all these doubts, I choose to deeply and completely love, honor, and accept myself. And maybe anyone else who contributes to these doubts. All these doubts I might have. All these doubts that I hold in my body. All these fears and doubts that stop me from living my soul's purpose. That stop me from acknowledging my beauty. Which stops me from sharing it. But it is there. And it is meant to be shared. And I'm open to the possibility that that's my sole purpose. But then I get those doubts. And I hold myself back. And I don't share myself in the ways that I could. Not because I'm bad or stupid. Not because I am weak or lazy. But because I have some old programming telling me why I couldn't or shouldn't share myself. Telling me why I couldn't or shouldn't believe that I have beauty to share. Telling me why I shouldn't believe that I have a soul purpose. And maybe I know some people who would think that sounds crazy. So I better keep it to myself. But I can't keep it to myself and share it at the same time. And part of me knows anybody who thinks that it's crazy, they're the ones who are missing out. I don't want them to miss out. And I don't want to miss out myself because they're missing out. That would be like standing at the beach and looking out at the ocean and then having people with me with their back to the water saying, "What are you looking at?" And there may have been times in the past where I said, "You're right." And I turned my back on the beauty. So now we're all missing out. I choose to look at the beauty again and tell others about it. And hopefully they'll turn their butts around so that they can experience the beauty too. I want them to experience my beauty. I want them to acknowledge their own beauty so that they'll share that with the world. Imagine everyone in the world sharing their real beauty. That would be so freaking awesome. That would be so beautiful. And I got to start it. So I choose to clear any doubts about what I have to offer. Clearing those at a cellular level. And clearing them all the way back through my past. Back through all the times in my life where I may have somehow gotten the message that I didn't have that much to offer. That there wasn't beauty inside of me. Those are misunderstandings. Mine or someone else's. Time to let them go. Part of me knows that beauty is in there. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here tapping on my face right now. Part of me is saying, yes, clear those doubts. Because we've got a soul purpose. And maybe I've got some time to make up for. The only moment I have is now. I choose to be free now. Free to acknowledge my beauty. And free to share it. It's a gift of love to myself. It's a gift of love to the world. And I can handle doing that. Part of me might say, there will be consequences to doing that. Yes, and there's consequences to doing nothing. Life is full of consequences. And I've handled every consequence in my life. Maybe not always as gracefully as I would have liked. But I've handled every single one of them. The proof that I'm still here. So I choose to have more faith in myself. I can handle life. So I'm giving myself permission to acknowledge my beauty. I'm giving myself permission to share it. Allowing myself greater and greater clarity about my soul purpose. Setting myself free to move forward on that. In body, mind, and spirit. Take a deep breath. Go inside with your eyes closed. Think again about, we'll say, I choose to live my soul's purpose. I choose to share my beauty with the world. Just allow yourself to be aware of what that feels like. And hopefully that feels a whole lot better. And as you were saying earlier, Leon, it's like peeling layers of the onion and allowing yourself to be aware of, oh, okay, there's something else there. And you can continue tapping on anything else that might come up around why you might hold yourself back. Keep setting yourself more and more free.
Totally. And again, it's so beautiful because, I told you I started with 6. Now I'm at 0. I actually feel stupid not to be my purpose. Because as you're doing it, that's stupid. But it's just that it just feels so expensive now, right? And it just it comes of I cannot find the word right now, but basically it just kind of I feel kind of why not? Who am I not to be my soul purpose? So it's amazing how in such a short time we did about 10 minutes or so how you can really shift things radically, which is beautiful. Yeah. And really quick question as we're doing this, the process, I was thinking as well, for some people, again, who are new to the technique, they may wonder, well, why are we tapping here and here and here? Can you kind of give a quick synopsis of that?
Yeah, these are just key points. The body has acupuncture points all over it. Mm-hmm. These are just certain key points that when Dr. Callahan was coming up with the original version, that these were the points that he found effective. There are different tapping processes where people use other acupuncture points. Mm-hmm. And there is now a growing body of evidence for why these particular points and the effectiveness that they have. So
fantastic. Good. Perfect. And so this is definitely, as you mentioned, a technique that we can do on our own, but it's so much more fun to do it with you on your channel. And also to be able, again, to not get into our head about what to think about and what to say. We just go with the flow. And also I know on your website, Tap with Brad, you have amazing courses as well. I don't know if you want to touch on a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, if you go to tapwithbrad.com, you'll see a link to get a 5-day course called Tap into Your Best Self. And there's tapping rounds for each of the 5 days on self-compassion and self-esteem and clearing self-doubt and self-forgiveness, things like that. So just some resources to help you feel much better about yourself, because as you feel better about yourself, you're much more likely to share your beauty with the world. Please and thank you.
Exactly. I think we need more of that nowadays, right?
Amen.
Oh my God. So anything else you'd like to add for the audience today, Brad?
Just the key behind all this is really getting to a place of self-love, acknowledging that you're worthy of love, because we have all of this misinformation about self-love. That's arrogance and conceit. No. Arrogance and conceit are a cover-up for insecurity. Self-love, because when we truly love ourselves and recognize how lovable we are, we see that in other people. Arrogance says I'm better than people. Self-love is we are all so beautiful. And then the more we do that, the more we can help others be aware of that. So it's a total win-win situation. So clear away all the reasons why you couldn't or shouldn't love yourself more. And yeah, thanks for doing that.
Exactly. Well, thank you. That was amazing. So thank you again on behalf of the audience for being here and spreading the love and the light into the world. And again, your generosity through all the beautiful tapping sessions that you have on your YouTube channel. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Leora, for all that you do. And thank you for this opportunity to share this. And thank you to everyone watching for taking some time to learn some more resources to set yourself free.
Exactly. All right. Thank you so much, and many blessings.
Many blessings.